make sure that it goes live. All right. And we are live. Yay. Let's double check here. It's much easier to navigate it on my phone. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our, what number interview is this, Master Cook?
This is fourth.
Our fourth interview with See You Saturdays with Master Cook. And I will let you take it away, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So today we have with us Jackson Huse Sabamim. Sorry about that, sir.
All good.
First, congratulations are in order. Jackson is a recent high school graduate. Yay!
Thank you, man.
So, where did you graduate high school from, sir?
Eastern High School.
Okay. And what are your plans for next year?
At the moment, I am a pre-computer science major at the University of Kentucky, and I have an interest in pre-medicine and Spanish.
Okay. COVID willing, correct?
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about your Taekwondo life. What degree belt are you? Those kinds of things, sir.
So I am an instructor at Wong's Martial Arts, and I am a second degree black belt. I was supposed to test for my third, but quarantine happened, but that's okay. We're good with moving with the flow. And I have been training for about 10 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And I mainly go to HMA JTown.
Do you do judo?
I do. I am, I believe, a brown belt in judo. Sorry, it's been a while. I have to think about it. I'm a brown belt in judo. I've been doing judo since I was in 7th grade.
Okay. And how did you find out about HMA?
My father and my brother actually were both in HMA before I was born. And so when we were looking for summer camps or somewhere for me to go while they were at work, HMA popped up and they wanted me to try it out for a couple weeks. And then I got my yellow belt. And then now I'm here.
10 years later, the story goes. Okay. So you mentioned a father and brother. Tell me about your family.
I have 2 older brothers. One is 27, lives in St. Louis. The other is 22, and he lives in Chicago. I have a mom and a dad. Obviously, I live with them. And that's pretty much all. Most of our relatives live in Indiana, so we're pretty much the only Huses in Kentucky.
Well, that was my next question. Are you from Louisville?
I am from Louisville. When I was younger, we moved to Florida for a year, but we came back.
Alrighty. And your profession, we kind of touched on that already, what you're heading in college. What hobbies do you have?
So before I started HMA and kind of during it throughout middle school, I like to play soccer. I played for my school. I played for, Highland Youth Recreation. I played for JYSA and stuff. And so that's always a passion and a hobby I have. But I also enjoy, music because I was in band. And then of course, I'm sure everyone here knows I enjoy working on computers and stuff, programming, and it's just a fun, interesting hobby.
What instrument did you play in the band?
I was a percussionist, so anything that went boom.
Yes. Sounds like my youngest. If it didn't move, he would beat on it. So yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what position did you play soccer?
Generally, I was defense, but sometimes I would play midfield, and I played offense one time, and I did not like it.
One time, okay.
All that is one time.
Okay. How has HMA impacted your non-HMA life?
So HMA, especially when you're a teenager, it can become time consuming. It's not awful to be at. It's very fun and an uplifting community. So it's very, fun to be around, and it's kind of shaped me in my school life also, just because, I'm more confident than I was when I was younger in myself and others. I'm more of a leader, whereas normally I would probably be more shy and just, listen and not really have any ideas. But in school, HMA has kind of paved the way for that for me. And that's how I was able to be in National Honor Society officer. And I helped lead a lot, especially with events. And then, but that does have some drawbacks. HMA, again, for teenagers can be time consuming. So I decided to give up soccer because I play soccer sometimes on my own or with friends or with my family. So I didn't really give it up, but I just am no longer playing like for a school or for a league.
What are some of your favorite HMA memories, sir?
Oh, there's so many. So I've been here since I was about 6 or 7. So I grew up coming to HMA. So there are a lot of memories that I love that I can't even think of off the top of my head. But some of the most fun I've had at HMA is when we are traveling together, whereas it be with SWAT team or just the trip to China, Korea, or just the captains when we went to Peru. It was just a fun experience because we were all bonding. Nothing's like your friends helping hype you up during a tournament when you're about to compete. And then in China, Korea, it was just good to see the world, but with people that and that support you and you support. And then in Peru, it was fun to translate for Grandmaster after he found out I can speak Spanish. And so it was just a fun experience.
You mentioned trips. What other trips have you been on?
I've been to Alaska 3 times. I have been to North Carolina. Is that where we went? Yeah. No, Miami. I didn't go to North Carolina. I've been to Chicago with HMA. I've been to Peru. I went on the China Korea trip. And I believe that's about it. But I've also traveled all over Louisville with HMA.
And when you're traveling all over Louisville, tell us about those experiences. What team, what group are you with when you're doing those things?
So before I was on SWAT team, demo teams used to go into the community more. And I think we're trying to also enforce that now, just try to get everyone. I think that's just something that we were trying to do before quarantine happened. But so we would go around Louisville for like the Pegasus Parade, the float preview, demo teams would be there for, just an event that has a lot of people like the Easter Parade or anything else. I think it was a food truck rally. That was fun to be at. That demo team was at. And then the Louisville City, we were at a game they were performing. And so it's just been a lot of fun and unique experience that I wouldn't have gotten any other way. And then SWAT team, of course, the Pegasus Parade is one of my favorite events. I had to miss it last year, but I still can't wait for this year's.
It will be hot this year, probably.
More than likely. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. JTown Parade, you've been in that parade also. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So,
The JTown Parade. Are you talking about the Gaslight Parade?
Gaslight, yes.
Gaslight Parade's a lot of fun. I've helped lead in that. I've helped target kick. I did swords this past year, which was an interesting experience because I've never done that before. So yeah, parades are always fun because even though it gets hot and it gets sunny and you're walking for a long time, it's just fun to be with everybody.
So, what do you want students to learn from you?
I mean, besides, the curriculum that we have to all learn together, and I want to be able to teach people more how to lead others and I want to be able to inspire them in teaching methods, creating their own thing and being unique and not being afraid to find something that works somewhere else and adapt it to HMA or adapt it to their own life. And I think that not only in an HMA setting, I hope that for that, I also hope for that in life too, in their careers and, school, that I can also help them become more confident and more of a leader.
Do you have a style of teaching?
I wouldn't say I have a style. I have, been here for 10 years. So obviously I've seen all the people that have come and gone. I've seen master instructors that were here when I was younger who aren't here now, such as Master Thomas. He's the one who started teaching me how to lead others when I was a green belt. And then Master Ian has helped me through that. Sarah Sobna has helped me through that, and any teenagers also. And then the list can go on forever just because, SWAT team, I work with all these other people who have unique ideas, who lead, like Brent Sobnam, Francis Sobnam, and even some of the SWAT interns, they have great ideas sometimes. And so they all inspire me and teach me new things all the time.
Great.
That kind of leads me to our question. There's a 1:30 crew that just all signed on. Master Ian, Miss Smith, Brun Sabanim. Anyway, so we've got Jean that is asking, who was your HMA role model when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, my HMA role model, I would say more was Master Thomas and Sarah Sobman, because they were, kind of the main instructors at HMA. Master Sun is also, someone I've always looked up to, but when Master Thomas went away and Sarah Sobman went away, Master Ian took that role. And so I've been able to be inspired by him, not only teaching, but, he's become a friend of me also. And so we've just been able to get to know each other, and he's probably one of my biggest role models right now at HMA.
Okay, well, everybody that is logged on, please ask those questions. I'll give it maybe like 10 more seconds. Looks like everybody already knows who you are. Where's Mr. Gardner?
As I say, he always has questions.
Where's he at?
Give him a few more minutes.
Questions here shortly, I'm sure. Okay. See you in, oh. What was your most fun experience at HMA, Miss Gray?
So traveling with HMA has always been a fun experience, but, I also grew up in the summer camp program, and that's where I started at HMA. So I always find interest in summer camp, just being there, just leading, just interacting with the kids. And so that's always just one of my favorite things to do as well.
Master Ian is ugly crying right now, saying that you're a role model.
Don't ugly cry.
He's asking, how's that 720 coming?
I lost a lot of, what I worked on with the rotation and stuff, like what I had before quarantine started, but I started practicing a little bit when I'm there. So it's coming back slowly but surely.
Dr. Jenkins says, I get question shamed when I ask questions. Mr. Gray, if you were a breaking technique, what would it be and why?
Oh, well, that's such an interesting question. So one of my favorite breaking techniques, I would say, is a 1 foot, not because the advance of the technique, but because, a 1 foot, you have to work at it for a while, and there are different ways to do it too. So it's showing perseverance and, shows how you have been able to adapt to who you are.
A 1 foot, like you break the board with 1 foot?
A 1 foot tornado kick. I'm sorry.
Ms. Z says, hello, sir. Azam says, the only reason he is happy for COVID-19 is because you are Jackson Sabanim still here and you are still SWAT captain.
I don't really know what that's supposed to mean.
Just say thank you.
Thank you.
Loves you. No, not her. Azam loves you. That's what that means.
Thank you, Azam.
Back.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. You said there was a kick that you were working on. Explain what you mean, because we have some people that don't know.
Right. Yes, ma'am. So a 720 tornado kick is where you spin 2 times in the air, and then as you're landing from that spin, you do a roundhouse kick, all in midair. And it's a really hard technique to do. And if you were here when Master Moon and Master Choi was here, that's something that Master Moon was working on a lot. So they were trying to teach me how to do it a little bit also. And so it's supposed to go tornado kick and then a 1 foot tornado kick, and then you're supposed to do a 540 before 720, but I kind of skipped the 540. It's a different spin. So all the spinning is unique, and so it's just a lot to work at, but it's fun also to work at.
Sounds like too many spins for me. And a tornado is just a spinning, jumping roundhouse. That's what I keep telling myself. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What else are you involved in outside of HMA? Do you have, you a little bit in high school, anything with your church, that kind of thing?
So I am not that much of an active church goer. My mom, whenever she wants to go, I always go with her. And so in that youth group, we go on trips a lot. And so even if you really believe or you don't believe it, that doesn't really matter to them. They just want to, it's about the sense of community. It's about helping others. And so we go on this trip to this camp called Passport every year for a week, which is a lot of fun. It's just so high energy. And then we also go to Miami as a mission trip. And then at school, I was in the National Honor Society, which if you don't know what that is, it's really more just getting students who do well in school to also help the community and to volunteer and to, help anyone that needs any help around you, around your area. And so I was able to be a treasurer in that, but as an officer, we all kind of do more of the same thing. So we all help fundraise, we all help run an event. And so I was able to run a holiday caravan at Eastern, if any of you know what that is.
Sounds good. The reason I ask, a lot of people say, oh, HMA takes up so much of your time, but you're still able to do other things outside of HMA also. So you're still a well-rounded person. What's the significance of your bracelets, sir?
There isn't really any significance. So at that camp called Passport, there's something that we do every year also. It's called Bandanarama. It's like where you make a bracelet out of bandanas. And so I just have 2 of those that, I've kind of always had. And then my friend gave me this one just because she didn't like it and needed to give it away. And I said, I'd take it. So they don't really mean anything particularly, but they're just fun to have.
Okay. They're just part of Jackson's SBN. They're
just
always
part
on.
of my life. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What advice would you give to our teens, preteens, going from child, because that's where you were, through early teens? And are you 18 yet? Are you actually a legal adult?
No, not yet.
Okay,
In
so
September.
almost. Okay, almost an adult. So that's
Yes,
an interesting transition for some people.
So that transition, it can be hard to make because, everyone's different as a child. And so kids, when they grow up, they start to adapt to where they are. And so at HMA, as a kid, and you're immersed in Dream Team, you're immersed in Demo Team, you start to really pick up a lot of responsibility. And it can be time consuming, it can be hard, it can be frustrating at times. But what I would advise to, all of those preteens, all those kids who are growing up into this transition right now is to not give up, because even if it seems like a lot. So when I was in middle school, I quit soccer for HMA, but there is a lot of ways that you could have found time to do that. I could have found time to do that, and I still do, even if it's not for like a professional league and stuff. And I think a lot of teenagers don't really understand that HMA as a whole is very understanding. And so, not just Grandmaster, Master Mimi, Master Sun, which they are very understanding, but like also instructors like Master Ian Brunsop and them, like even adults like Mr. Gardner or yourself, Master Cook, you're all understanding. And so if you have something to do or you have something that you need to work at for a little bit, I think everyone understands how important it is to you. And so it's very easy for everyone to be accepting of, if you need a break or if you need to go to a different HMA for a little bit, just to switch perspectives. And so just giving up isn't really the best option for you. It's very, you can do it. I believe in you.
Good job. What advice would you give to adults?
So I don't work with adults that much because, I mainly focus on children, teaching them, leading, and that's in summer camp after school. But when I work with adults, it's always a fun experience because, no adult thinks the same, but they have a lot of the same issues. Like they're all like, oh, I can't do that, but you can. Or they're all like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know anyone here, because they're a little shy, which is okay, but you can. I believe in you. And so anything I would advise to adults is just try once. And if you don't like it, okay. But then try again later and you might like it more. And so I think that will speak to a lot of adults when they hear that, because, the public speaking is like one of the leading fears in the world. And so a lot of people are scared at first when they're asked to lead a group, but then after they work at it a little bit, they're all very enthusiastic about it and they find it fun. Just like I find it fun to lead, but I didn't when I was younger.
How about advice to parents sitting over there on the sidelines?
My advice to parents sitting on the sidelines is to get on the mat. It's very fun. So my dad and my brother were at HMA and they talk about how they enjoyed, being on it together. And whereas I wasn't able to have that experience with them, I was also able to have, that experience with my friends. And so I know about like training with someone is always fun to be with, and it's always, because you hype each other up, you bring each other's spirits up, you encourage each other. And that's what I like to see when I'm with SWAT team. And that's why I love being a part of SWAT team, is because, even if you don't know people that well, they're still your friends, they're still going to encourage you, and the same way. And so being on the mat with your child, or brother or sister or whoever, is going to be a lot of fun, I promise, even if it seems scary.
Anything you thought of that else you'd like to share with us, sir?
Not particularly at the moment. I think I've covered a lot of, how I believe in like kids, as adults, as teenagers, not giving up, always at least trying. And I think especially when you're working on new techniques, it's important to pace yourself, but it's also important to keep trying at perfecting a technique as best you can.
Let's talk about some favorites. What's your favorite weapon to use, sir?
Oh, my favorite weapon. I love all weapons equally, but I'm a little biased towards the bow staff. I would have to
You're the bow staff master, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yes, okay. And your favorite food?
Oh, there are so many good foods out there. Right now I'm on this sushi kick. I love eating sushi. I used to hate sushi, which is funny, but I also like a lot of fruit. So just those two things are very fun.
Do you have a favorite color?
If you know me, my favorite color is pink. When we had pink shirts and Master Ian had, worked at trying to get pink shirts for a while, it was very fun. I love the color pink. And so when I have a pink shirt, it was like my favorite thing.
Is it because Master Ian is your role model, or this is like
No. No, ma'am. I liked pink before Master Ian told me he liked pink. And that was funny when we found out that we both loved the color pink the most. We did.
had me at pink?
Yes.
Okay, we've got some questions here. What is your favorite book?
When I was growing up, my favorite book were Lemony Snicket books. So like the series of unfortunate events. I always enjoyed reading those. I don't really have favorite book otherwise, I guess.
What impressed you? Mr. Gray is asking, what impressed you the most on your trip to China?
Just China or China, Korea? In China, there are a lot of people there. And so it impressed me how, even though it seemed like there wasn't a ton of space, they still, made things work for them, and how it was unique and how they adapted their life to that. In Korea, I just enjoyed being around, all the historical sites that we visited, all of the things that Grandmaster showed, and also the mountain was pretty fun and impressive to me.
Which one? Mount Fuji?
Mount Sorkson, I think.
Making sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Jenkins again asking. I guess he has taken over Mr. Gardner's spot. Do you plan to continue your Taekwondo journey once you are at UK?
I hope to. At UK, they have a Taekwondo program or a Taekwondo club or organization. I don't know if it's still being maintained, but I would love to continue with my training there. And of course, at HMA, when I come back, like for summers or for breaks, I enjoy also coming back, seeing everybody.
Every week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Miss Bazaar is asking, who is your favorite TKD parent?
Oh, I don't have any favorite parents. They're all pretty amazing.
Good answer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Dr. Jenkins is asking, can you tell us the story about your arm?
Oh, yes, I enjoy talking about my arm. I've got it down packed. So during my junior year, right before the Pegasus Parade, so right after the float preview, I think it was, I had an injury to my arm. I fell up the stairs and I had a nosebleed before that. And so I was trying to run up to my locker to get a jacket because I had blood on my shirt. And so I didn't feel anything about that. I felt fine, just a little scrape. And then about a day later, my arm was in a lot of pain and we didn't know why. So we went to the urgent care and they took x-rays and said nothing was broken. And so they thought that it might just be more growing pains. So they gave me some antibiotics and then said to ice it and see how it is. And then the next day I went to the ER because it hadn't gotten better. And so they sent me to the orthopedic surgeons to see what they thought it might be. And they didn't really know. So we had scheduled a surgery. I believe it was 4:30. I remember this so much. It was on the Pegasus Parade day, and I was excited to go to the Pegasus Parade last year, but I couldn't go. And then in that surgery, they found that it was necrotizing fasciitis, which I don't recommend looking up. Please do not look it up.
Gross
But
pictures.
the flesh-eating bacteria, so all the muscle and the fascia inside your arm, my arm was dying in my arm, and so they had to do 8 surgeries to get all the necrotic tissue out, and they had to clean it and make sure that I was clear of the infection. And it was a long PT road that I was on, but we're all better for it. And I have this nice scar, if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it well.
All right, fantastic. I think that's it for now.
Thank you, ma'am.
What kind of music do you like to listen to, sir?
So I believe that a lot of kids who grew up in the 2000s grew up with a mixture of rap, hip hop, R&B, and so I think we all kind of have a taste for that. But a lot of music that's on today's top hits, actually, I just like to listen to. But I also like to listen to Spanish music. And while we're at HMA, teenagers at SWAT like to listen to K-pop. And so I am not like the biggest K-pop fan, but I still enjoy listening to it. I think that they have a lot of fun songs also.
Okay, so lots of different ones. What is your favorite sport?
Taekwondo is my favorite sport, of course.
Okay.
What do you?
Behind Taekwondo, what's your second favorite sport?
I enjoy soccer. I enjoy a lot of sports, but I enjoy soccer just to watch it, and I enjoy, being a part of it, being on the field. And maybe it's my bias because I've been playing for a long time, or I was playing for a long time, but I enjoy watching soccer. But I also like watching baseball. Baseball is fun to watch, although I know I'm gonna say something controversial, but I don't really like football. Sorry about that. Sorry, it's just not my sport.
That's okay. Do you have a favorite team?
For soccer,
or just any team? Yes.
I don't
You
really
have
have
a
a
jersey.
favorite team at all. Louisville City, I think, is actually a really good soccer team. So I enjoy watching them whenever I, see highlights on YouTube or I am in person in a game. I enjoy watching them, but otherwise, I don't exactly have a favorite team.
Okay. And you have a brother that's involved in an interesting sport, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am. So my brother, his name is Zach, if any of you know, not Zach Bruns, Zach Huse. So Zach is living in St. Louis. And during high school, he was a football player at Ballard. He was the captain of the team, and he enjoyed the weightlifting and the team part of it, and just everyone encouraging each other. And so when he went to college, he found weightlifting to be like one of his favorite things to do. He isn't, the most favorite with school. School isn't his favorite thing. So I feel like weightlifting was just something that he could escape to. And so he is now training to be an Olympic weightlifter. I think he's yes, very impressive. I think he's given up his dream to go to the Olympics, but he enjoys coaching and he enjoys working to improve himself also. And so he has a gym in St. Louis right now, actually, where he focuses on Olympic weightlifting, but he also does a lot of other programs for people who are just trying to lose weight or whatever. But he is like really into that, and so I find that pretty awesome. I could never, but
because for a while you were traveling and watching in different competitions, correct, sir?
Right. Yes, ma'am. So I've been to Florida and St. Louis to watch him. I went to California, I went to Anaheim to watch him, and his favorite thing is Disney also. So if we're in Florida or we're in California, we also go to Disney because he's like, I just competed. Woo, let's go to Disney. And so it's just very fun to travel with him for that sometimes.
Great. All right. What is your favorite HMA form? We'll start with color belt.
Color belt form, my favorite is, I was thinking about this earlier, Taeguk Paljong. Taeguk Paljong is not because of how advanced it is, but because of how it flows with the techniques together. It's not like the other forms where they're, you do a movement this way and then you automatically go back this way. And then it's more, the twists and turns of it kind of mask that because it does have that. But it's my favorite when you are able to make it look impressive and flow together, especially if you have, higher kicks, or even if you just have more power instead of higher kicks. It's just the snap really, brings out the form, my opinion.
Your favorite black belt form?
So if you are at HMA 1 or on SWAT team, side kicks are never my best. Side kicks are not my best kick, although they've been improving, I've been told. So I enjoy Kumgung because it's showing, power, even though I'm not the strongest, but even though, I can still make it look good, even though I don't have, as much strength or as much with my kicks. But in Kumgung, if you can make your technique snap and you can perfect it and you can make it, flow together also, I find it to be a very fun form to do. Although a lot of people don't like it. I appreciate it. So
it's different. And your favorite black belt philosophy, sir?
My favorite black belt philosophy would probably be, I have two. My favorite would be A Journey of 1,000 Miles begins with the first step, because life is a journey of 1,000 miles. In your life, you're going to go a lot of places, or even if you don't, you're going to do a lot of things and have fun experiences, bad experiences. And so it's just always fun, especially if you're with someone. So if you start a journey of 1,000 miles with someone else, it's even more rewarding and it's even more fun to be around. And then my other one is Nothing Great Was Ever Achieved Without Enthusiasm, because negative attitude or negative energy is not really going to help you in the long run. It can put that seed in your mind that you want to do better, and that's where the enthusiasm comes from. But I mean, just having an enthusiastic attitude is what will bring out the most in you and for others. My experiences, at least.
How about a children's life lesson?
Oh, I haven't learned those forever.
As a parent, I like you shall not interrupt adult conversations. That's
right.
good for a parent, but
right. I feel like I will always turn in my homework on time. I feel like I really resonated with that one. In middle school, I wasn't the best about getting things done on time, but in high school, I kind of found my balance with that. And I think through HMA, I've also found a balance to that, because I've always worked harder at HMA than at school, and I think that just kind of brushes off to school, where I start to work harder also.
Good. You've mentioned SWAT team. Define what does SWAT stand for. Some people don't.
Special Winning Attitude Team. Yes, ma'am.
And your position on the Special Winning Attitude Team is?
At the moment, I am the captain of the SWAT team.
So that's the reasoning that your uniform is different color than the rest of the SWAT team, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And with the demo team at HMA JTown, what role did you have?
I was a captain of the demo team, although now I'm more of an advisor.
So once you get involved, we just keep recycling, right?
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else you want to share with us?
Not specifically. I have, always had fun with the demo teams and the SWAT teams, and it can be a challenge sometimes when, you're under pressure to create this demo, but I think in the long run, it all ends up working well. And, just having that attitude of being enthusiastic and, just really planning and giving it your all, you can make something that looks really amazing and that, you know, can win competitions and stuff. And so I just enjoy that part of it.
Sounds good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Here comes Master Mimi back. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, were you done, Master Cook, or did I?
Yes, ma'am. Nope.
Okay, great. Okay, so not many other questions besides Mr. Braden says he's watching, and then Romlin is saying it is not going to be the same without you at HMA JTown.
Thank you, Romlin. I appreciate that.
We're losing part of our Saturday morning crew. So.
The original Saturday morning crew
Yes.
from 10 years ago. Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Greer says hello. I don't know if that's Jimmy or Mr. And I think that's it. Do you have a love interest?
No, ma'am.
Taekwondo is his girlfriend. Yes, sir.
That's what they call it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Other than that, I think that is it. Thank you very much for your time today, everybody. Master Cook. Just
Welcome, ma'am.
did you want to go ahead and announce who the next person would be for interviewing?
Yes, ma'am. So in 2 weeks, we have our first female guest. Yay! We're going to have Jean Gray is going to be with us, ma'am.
Great. Perfect. And then who would you like to interview you, Master Cook? I think you should be after Jean.
Yeah, okay. That works for me, ma'am. So
Maybe I'll have Mr. Gardner.
I say either Mr. Gardner or Dr. Jesse. They ask all the questions, ma'am. That works.
We schedule like a two hour. Okay, perfect. I guess I'm trying to think like what I could ask you, Jackson Supplement.
Yes, ma'am.
I've not really gotten to work with you very much. You know, I've only seen you as like a kid and then as like a SWAT in the in betweens. I never really got to see you, but
I love the picture of him on the alumni page and on the online page with graduation, standing there next to Master Ian and Master Philip. But they were
At my black belt ceremony.
Yes, just how much difference in height, because now you guys are all about the same. You know,
Right.
it was cute. So
Yes, ma'am.
I do have to give kudos to Jackson Supplement. We do have, we do operate kind of on like a very old school way where we're like doing pen and paper, but we do utilize a database called Access, and the one class in college that I absolutely despised, but Jackson Sabadem has been very kind, and so like all our attendance for summer camp and all any database type of things that we have with our did you do the certificate database as well, or was that Brent Sabadem?
The belt test certificate, I did not, but the black belt certificate database, I did.
Okay. So any of those things that that have to do with kind of populating lots of information, and we need to get things measured out or report or queries or things like that is all Jackson Sabamnim. So thank you very much for doing that for us. We would definitely still be using pen and paper and like handwriting summer camp names if we had that.
Of course. Yes.
he helped me greatly with the penny wars when we were trying to figure out, when we were drawing names at HMA J-Town, who was going to win the gift. Because I'm writing names, he's like, I got this. And like in 5 minutes, he had it done.
Exactly. It's phenomenal, and you definitely have to have a special place in your brain to be able to organize all that and do that. So we definitely appreciate you and all that you do for WONGS. So
Thank you, ma'am.
okay, on that note, thank you everybody. Master Cook, thank you, ma'am. And
Thank you, ma'am.
see you later.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.
Soon.